Good.
Far away.
How's Charlie?
Good. Yeah.
He's going to play?
Yeah. No, he'll be fine. No, last 30 seconds of the drill, him and Tom had a nice little collision, so it's not exactly what you want to see in the last 30 seconds, but no, they're both fine. So they're all good to go.
When one of your key players went down holding his knee?
I tried to have a bit of a laugh to fob it off, but holding his knee's incorrect. No, he's fine. So.
Has he been receiving injections into his knee in recent times
Nope.
before training?
No. Before training?
Yeah.
No, that's not the case at all.
So you expect he'll train today and play on Friday night?
That's what I said.
Jack Silvagni, how's he progressing?
Good, yeah. So he should be available. So he trained yesterday, and yeah, it looks like he'll be ready to go. Yeah.
What was the actual scare with Charlie then? What was the issue?
Just a knock. Yeah.
To the leg or to the...
You don't need to know specifics. Let's just say he's playing. Have we got anything else?
Do you consider any,
I think we've been pretty emphatic that Charlie's
You've
playing.
got the full complement of key position players. Do you consider a change to the balance of your team this week after what happened last week? Do you think that maybe going a bit taller forward was partly to blame, or have you sort of seen that?
No, we went a bit small last week. Obviously, we ended up playing Lewis, through the game and flipped him forward. So yeah, we obviously played a little bit smaller. Clearly their impact of their I guess called medium sizes that we're having a bit of an issue with throughout the game. But no, look, we've sort of probably over the last month, the recent form says that we've been going okay. But we let ourselves down last week. It was a really sort of disappointing performance. So in some ways, it's just taking that opportunity to be able to sort of reset what really works for us and reinforce the level of planning we need, the level of detail we need, strengths we need to be able to bring to the game. It becomes more about the reinforcement, but yeah, it was sort of difficult to know where to start and finish because all three phases never really come together at all throughout the game. So it made it particularly challenging.
Did you move on pretty quickly, or did you review it?
No, review it because you learn as much out of what didn't work as what does work, and we've sort of had enough over the last 3 weeks to look through what has worked for us, and every opposition's coming in and they're going to do their planning, they're going to do their homework, and they just got more their way. And for us, it started very much around the contest. We just lost territory, and the competition's tough. So if you're sort of losing territory enough, it makes it really hard to be able to try and win the game from your back half all the time. So you just want that an even contest. That's all you need. You don't need to be dominating the area, but just be able to get even looks. And again, our midfield's been pretty strong throughout the year, but we lowered our colours around the ball on the weekend.
Is it a concern that when it wasn't going your way that you weren't really able to turn the ship? And have you asked more of your leaders this week, sort of in key moments, to be able to turn the game rather than just sort of be one-way traffic like it was last week?
Yeah, it was a really difficult one to answer. It's difficult to where to start and finish because it just didn't feel like the effort was where it needed to be to give ourselves that chance. So when you chase the game, that feels like what you're doing across the whole day is chasing it. And there's sort of important moments within that obviously we'd like to have back to get into half time and know you've still got a throw at the stumps. But no, it was hard work for most of the day. So we've addressed that, we've looked at it, and now we've obviously activated it to try and train and reinforce the things that we want to be able to take into this game. But sometimes they're really simple things, and we weren't just able to get those simple things done.
The effort, does that anger you the most as a coach when that isn't brought to game day?
Yeah, it does. And that's probably the disappointing nature of it. Look, our last month, I think, has been, and that's where we take our form from. We take our form out of the last month, and that's probably why it makes it a little bit disappointing, because we made a lot of ground in a lot of areas, and we weren't able to get that done on the weekend. So we're looking for a response in that, and hopefully the boys can get out there and execute as we expect them to.
In a broader football sense, just with the Willie Rioli case,
Yep.
Should there be a distinction between what is said on the field and what is sort of said off the field?
That's a good point. Look, I think that what we do is in Clubland is we rely on the AFL Integrity Department to be able to make those distinctions, and as clubs, that's what we do. There's a process to be run. The Integrity Department looks at it pretty closely, and then we're guided by that, and then what happens off the back of it. So I guess what we tend to do is put our trust in that process. So they've got all the information, they've got the detail they need to be able to make the right decision. So our position remains the same on that as follow the process, and obviously the integrity department can deal with it.
How do you feel towards the way the AFL is disciplining players at the moment, especially over the last 18 months or so? Do you feel like they're making it up on the run a bit?
No, I don't think so. Look, I mean, I think that's called an integrity department for a reason. So you've got to trust it, and they've got a process that they run, and I think they've been fairly consistent from what I can tell. And it's really hard to sort of speculate when you don't have the detail, and I'm sure that there's plenty of detail in there that we don't know. So from us, they take that broader view, and we back that in.
With being the Spud game, which is mental health, focused on mental health a little bit, do we have to be careful what is said on the field now because of that space? There's more focus?
Oh, that's bringing a pretty long bow, I would have thought. But look, if we talk to the game itself, we talk about Spud himself, as a club. Obviously, there's a significant meaning in behind this game. We're obviously privileged the fact that we've been chosen to play in this game. It's obviously clearly an important game to St Kilda. There's very important cause in behind it. But there's also a person that's meant a lot to St Kilda Football Club. So, we've been fortunate that in the early parts of this year that we get brought along on those journeys. The Royal Children's Hospital is obviously one we're really proud of to be a part of. The Peter Mac Cup has been one that we've been really proud to be part of. And likewise with Spud's game, it's our first one, and we're looking forward to playing in front of a big crowd in a pretty important moment.
St Kilda did a lot right last week. What sort of challenge did they present to you guys this week?
Well, the main thing I saw from them from the week before was just clearly their pressure, and they were able to sort of get some important clearances. We know they set up really strong defensively behind the ball, so they're going to be two important things in the match. We expect there'll be a lot of numbers around the ball, and they will obviously be hard to score. So that's the space that they'll provide for us. So we just have to be able to be patient and wait for our opportunities.
Sorry to ask you for a fifth time, just for our mic, Charlie Curnow, A-OK?
If your mic's not there, then I'm not answering it for the fourth time. So.
Just on St Kilda, how do you balance the need to score with shutting down Wayne and Miller and Sinclair have been sort of dual weapons for them off half back? Can you tag one of them? Can you attention to both? How do you sort of deal with it?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think sort of there's either the I don't think you can take all of it off the table. It's probably where you rely on your system a lot to be able to help with that. So. Small forwards will definitely have their hands full because it's only one part of the game, clearly, on how you take that off the table for them. But they're obviously very, very important players. They've got a few of them, so we've got a few challenges down there. But, it's a little bit about them, but it's a lot about us. And, off the back of last week, we've seen when we don't get our system in play and we're not bringing the right effort around contest and we get beaten around the ball, it's a hard day. So we'll look to get that right first, and then we'll sort of see how the game unfolds from there.
There was a report yesterday that State of Origin is going to be locked in for February.
Yep.
How do you feel about losing some of your players to play in that game, if that takes place?
Oh, yeah, look, I think any opportunity that our players get to be able to represent something is a worthwhile doing. Last year we had the Indigenous game, and it was really important to Zach and it was really important to Motts to be a part of that game, and we embraced their own journey as a football club. And so if there are players out there that get to play in that State of Origin game, they are special games to play in. So obviously there's clearly a fair bit to play out in that about who that is and when that is actually played. But in principle, I would be hugely supportive of it because they're life experiences, and what as a football club we want to be able to do is we also want to have special memories. We obviously want to do that in the context of how we play our season and have those memories and share them together. But then there's going to be players that have their own memories that they want to create, and if they deserve a spot in that team, then we certainly back that in as a football club.
Do you think pre-season's the best time slot for it?
I'll let others decide that. It probably is, only because the nature of the year is, it's long. It looks like it's going to get longer. So it seems to be the appropriate time to be able to play that. When we talk about the structure of the season, that's probably another conversation, but the ideal opportunity to be able to play these games seem like before the season begins. Cheers. Thank you. Cheers. Thank you. Enjoy.